What's up, Scoopers? I'm your host, Erica Kroopin, and today I have the pleasure of chatting with Derek from Poo Patrol. What's up, Derek?
How's it going, guys? Good to be here today. As Erica said, I'm Derek from Poo Patrol. We are located in Evansville, Wisconsin. Serve kind of surrounding areas around us. I've got about 8 or 10 different communities in the area that I scoop for, all within about a 20-25 mile range from my house.
Oh, I love that. I've only been to Wisconsin once because I have family from Iowa, and they go to it's called Apple Fest somewhere in Wisconsin, right? Not too far from the border of Iowa, and it was fun. I had fun when I was there. I went in the fall. I've never been in the winter.
Probably not a lot different here than it is for you.
Yeah, we were just talking off camera, and you said that you just got slammed with what, eight inches of snow?
I think between 5 and 8, depending on the location. But it's a broad span. So like just south of us, 20 miles south, they got like an inch, but we got nailed here. So
It just depends on where you're at. That's crazy.
yep.
That's cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for hopping on with us. I'm really stoked to chat. Before we hopped on, I went through your socials and I was looking at your business page. And with your business name, it's Poo Patrol. It looks like it's very much like law enforcement kind of like style. So I have some questions. Like, are you in law enforcement or do you know somebody? Like, how did the how did that branding happen with your business?
Well, so I'm not in law enforcement, never been a cop. 20 or so years ago, I was going to go to school for it. And just with the current, with the situation at the time, the job I was working at the time, we just couldn't give up the income and I couldn't give up the time to do it. But I've always been supportive of law enforcement. I have a couple of friends that are cops and such. So the name actually more came from a derivative of Paw Patrol rather than anything. So I thought that would be kind of catchy, and it turns out obviously it's not all that catchy because there's tons that are in our space that are similar. But it is what it is. The logo was then kind of derived as the law enforcement type of logo. I don't know if it looked kind of official, if it looked like it was important. It's a lot of the logos are goofy looking and they look fun and cartoonish and great, and I like those. But I just wanted to come up with something that was a little bit different. So, and that was where the logo came up.
Yeah, I have several family members that are police officers, and so over here at KPS I back the blue, very supportive of law enforcement, and I agree with the logo. So when I was coming up with my branding, I wasn't sure what I wanted. I know that I still wanted it to be cute, but I wanted it to be professional, and I never had the cartoon dog logo. And so I went back and forth, and I enjoy the cartoon dogs, but I also wanted to have something that was a little bit more serious, I guess. So if I was trying to get into commercial properties, I didn't want them to not take me seriously if my cartoon was too or my logo was too cartoony. I probably was overthinking it too much because a lot of people with cartoon logos, they're killing it. They have huge commercial properties. But I understand where you were coming from, where you're like, I don't know how
Yeah,
serious or how fun I want my logo to be.
yep. To add to the law enforcement thing, so excuse me, we actually also scoop currently for one canine officer yard. And we volunteer. That's a service that we volunteered. They reached out to us, maybe about a year or so ago, asking how much it would be if they were to pay out of pocket, and I told them. And then about a month or so later, I'm like, let's just take care of them and we'll just do it. I mean, it's one job a week. It's one yard. It's a small area to do, and it's just a way of kind of giving back and adding to that little bit of saying, hey, this is what we do. So I thought it would be a good idea, and now we do.
I love that. So they reached out to you, right?
Yes.
Have you reached out to any other law enforcement to maybe do something like that? So say if one of our listeners, they would like to do something like this, do you have any tips to get in touch with the people?
Just contact. So I'm in most of my contacts uh, on Facebook and such. I'm friends of the law enforcement communities, so I follow their pages. I have sent out information, saying, "Hey, we'd like to do this for you if you're interested." I haven't had a lot call me back or message me back, but this one particularly did. So,
All right, cool. I love that. I love that you're doing that. Definitely supporting the community. So how did you get into this crappy business? How did it all start for you?
well, so we started in April of 20, so April of COVID, right when the whole earth shut down, and
The
like a
pandemic.
lot of people here, I think a lot of them started right around that same time era. But what happened was I got laid off right at the start of COVID after 25 years in the car business, 15-ish years at the same dealership. And so a buddy of mine uh, who owns a clean out business, a junk hauling business, if you will.
Yes.
I was doing some work with him, and we were taking a ride down to Kentucky to deliver a boat that he had sold. So he was driving down, I was driving back, and we were talking. We had 16 hours of seat time to talk, and he says, "I got a great idea for a business for you." He says, "You should start a dog poop scooping business." And I went, "Are you drunk?"
Right, you probably went cross-eyed, like, what?
I'd never heard of it before.
Right.
I'm like, "Hey, what do you hit your head? What's going on here?" He says, "No, seriously, it's a real business." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't doubt him. I'm just like, that's just I've never heard of it." And so I started doing. We got home. I got back to the house, and we started doing some research, and I start looking things up, and I'm going, "Huh, there's a market for this. There's lots of people that do it." And then I checked in our area, and there was none. So I went, well, I think there's a good opportunity here. So I posted on our local Facebook group in Evansville here, and I asking people if they would be, if that service was offered, if they would be interested, or if just to check things out first. And I got like 25 or 30 responses saying yes, that would be a fantastic idea.
That's amazing.
And so here we are. I think we did, since it was fairly late in the year, I think we did like, I don't know, 20 or 25 spring cleanups, in April, and ended up with 15 weekly customers, right, like almost right away, right off the hit.
Oh my gosh, I love that for you. So you had the idea. Did you have a logo, a business name, any of that before you made that first post?
No, none of it.
Okay, so
It just kind of all came together. Like I said, okay, well, we got to figure something out here.
yep.
Let's do it.
So how did that process go? If you take me back to when you made the post, people are messaging you, and how are you scheduling people? How are you getting this set up? What was your way?
At the pen and paper.
Yep.
It was. I grabbed a notebook, a spiral notebook, and I just started. As people would message through Messenger or text or whatever, then I just write down names, addresses, and contact information, and I just kept writing them down.
So for those of you that are listening or watching on YouTube, you don't have to have it all figured out to get started. You just have to get started and figure it out as you go. You can do it with a pen and paper. And then as time goes on, then you can upgrade to systems and all the fancy stuff.
Yeah,
Now,
for sure. And even up into the second season, so even up until 2021, I just hand wrote everything on a spiral notebook, which I still got sitting in my cabinet. Which now we're at 80, I think, weekly customers. I think we just added 5 in the past couple weeks. So now everything is done through Sweep and Go, and onboarding is a lot less hand cramp
yes.
style, and it works.
Did you have any experience running a business before, or was this the first time?
This was the first time. I never, I like I said, 25 years in the car business, and that was all I knew. I didn't know anything else. So
But you had
honestly,
sales
that
experience, lots of sales
yeah,
experience.
I was the guy that you love to hate. I was the guy who would get to hand you the $1,000 bill to, you know,
The closer?
uh, yeah, that's how much it's going to cost to fix your car, and we can get it done today. The guy who everybody loved to hate.
Ah, gotcha. That had to be a tough job.
It wasn't fun.
No, definitely not. Would you say that you were confident right away, or did it take time to build confidence?
It probably took a little time, but you know, being that my back was up against the proverbial wall, there wasn't an option for me. It wasn't. It was a this is a do or die moment because getting laid off was a blessing in some ways because I was relieved because I
Yeah.
didn't want to be doing what I was doing anymore. I was tired. I was burned out. I'd been doing it forever, and then I started doing side work for my buddy. Then he comes up with this idea, and then all of a sudden I'm going, okay, it's really not all that hard if you're not afraid to hustle,
Yep.
to make money on your own. And so, yeah, I had no experience. I was a little bit nervous, but we were just gonna go pedal to the floor and see what we could make happen. And here we are. And it's working out good. We doubled the first year and almost doubled again in the second year. So, and here we are coming into spring, and ads are out, and things are moving along, and requests are coming in. So, will we double again? Hopefully, I mean that's the general idea. So, but just
I
just
love
go
it.
for it.
Yes, I love that optimism, the glass half full thinking. That is my thought process. And often people ask me, they're like, how do you do all of this stuff? How do you have such a positive outlook? I force myself to do that. I don't spend a lot of
Right,
time in the negative. And when I do, I reach out to people to help pull me out of that. I do have a good support system because if you're worrying about like the what ifs, I can't do this, you're not going to move forward. So
right.
that's
Yep.
so good.
Sure.
So what are some growing pains that you're experiencing now that you've doubled?
Finding time to do everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because I'm still part time now in the afternoons. Excuse me. I had to find a part time that fit in with my scooping schedule, and um, trying to find somebody who was willing to work with that schedule and say, hey, I can't start until this time because I need daylight to do what I do, and things change. So finally found some that worked with that. But otherwise, growing pains wise, just trying to invoicing and trying to figure out customer communications, making sure that all those things are done right, making sure that the customers are taken care of properly,
Yep.
looking into the future to determine whether we're going to want to grow big enough to hire or not, or if I want to just keep it where it's just my wife and I running the business. Those type of things are things that I'm thinking about.
So from personal experience, because I've been struggling with this as well, I've always had at least one time or one part-time scooper. At one point, I went up to like three part-time scoopers, and then now I'm just back down to one full-time scooper, and I'm technically part-time. And I was wondering the same thing. How large do I want to grow? How many people do I want? And what really it all boiled down to is I needed to come up with those SOPs, the standard operating procedures, so I could get everything out of my brain onto paper so I could train somebody else. And then making sure that what you're charging can support an employee with a vehicle, um, with errors, because things are going to happen. Employees are expensive. So you want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you have that money cushioned. And during the training process, that's an expensive process in general because everything slows down with them. So whatever you do, cut that in half for at least the
Okay.
first
Yep.
30 to 45 days. Um, because it's slow. It's slow going because you want to make sure that you train them properly. So whenever you are ready to make that move, definitely talk with an accountant or somebody that knows numbers and figure out like how much you can pay this person. How much, if you're paying somebody $15 an hour, what is that actually costing your business per hour? Because it's probably like $3 more an hour or something, something along those lines.
Sure. Sure.
And that was a huge eye opener for me because I'm like, where's all my money? I have no money. It's all so I had to increase my rates like a lot, like a lot.
Yeah.
And that was tough. That was tough. All right. So, with that, you said that you use Sweep and Go as your CRM. How do you balance your personal life? Do you have like a family that you have to, balance as well with the business?
I do. So it's my wife and I have we have two kids at home yet.
Mhm.
16, well, almost 17. It'll be 17 next month, and 13. So that's tough because working the afternoon job, particularly with my daughter, my 13-year-old, she's a three-sport athlete. So she's in football, track, and basketball. And that was another thing to try to balance out was I want to be able to be there for those things. So that
Yes.
was one of the blessings of having being self-employed is I could make it to those without I can make it to those without a problem. Um, Trying to find a family balance time. I mean, we dump as much as we can into on the weekends, basically from 8 or 9 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. I'm done. I'm out. They're at school and I'm at work I work until 9 p.m. So I get home and they're getting ready for bed and going to sleep.
Yeah.
But so that's a bit of a challenge sometimes. Most of the time on Fridays, Friday mornings we try to get up and go for donuts and just try to get a little bit of hey, I haven't seen you all week kind of time. Today that obviously didn't work, and they understand that there are things that come that I got to take care of first. But most of the time, we try to take care of family stuff when we can on Fridays.
Well, I appreciate them sharing. So we can get this out there about you. But I love that you're being intentional and you're being deliberate. Like, I don't have a lot of time, but this is specifically family time and quality time. And that's
Yeah.
that's important. So what do you do when you doubled your clientele? You have wins. You're like, yes, today's amazing. How do you celebrate those days?
Well, we like food,
Yeah.
so if we when we doubled last year when everything really blew up. I don't know if it really blew up, but it was significant. And during the spring cleans and stuff. After spring cleans are over, the celebration is to go out to eat, and we'll go somewhere nice. And I don't, it doesn't matter what the price is. Get what you want on the menu, whatever you see that looks good. Uh, my daughter likes steak. I like steak. So we'll go to a good restaurant, and it is what it is. The price is what the bill is the bill, and we don't really care. And it's just a celebratory. They come out and help scoop during on weekends for spring cleans, and that's part of their compensation. They all get paid for their help as well. So it's just one of those family win kind of things.
And it doesn't get better than that. Celebrating as a family.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff right there. Man, I love it. So what do you do on the crappy days when you're like, I'm done, like I'm over this? What do you do to decompress?
I'm a bourbon drinker. I don't drink a lot, but I have about a 75 bottle collection in my cabinet.
Ooh, nice.
So I'll take a sip here and there, but obviously with not getting home till late, I don't know. That's one of the things that I would do on the weekends. Otherwise, there's football season, which is over for Packer fans, but I still like to watch the game. So
Isn't the Super Bowl, is it that this
it's
Sunday?
Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday. I go to Super Bowl parties for the snacks. That's it. I don't know nothing about sports. It's terrible. So, what keeps you motivated? What's your driving force?
knowing that this is going to take us to places that we could never dream of, working for somebody else, knowing that this is something that the financial future and the freedom of being able to do what we want pretty much when we want, once things really get established in the next, 2-3 years. The goal would be then at that point where, yeah, we can just do what we want to do and live life the way we want to live life.
It's true. This business has completely changed my life and so many others. It's
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
true.
It really is just completely fascinating.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. It really, really does.
It does. So I sit back and I think about it and I'm like, I cannot believe that scooping dog poop has given me the life that I have right now, and I get to meet the people that I get to meet, and the with me being able to employ people too, like that's been really nice for me to be able to offer that opportunity to somebody to work for my company because I built
Yeah,
a good company. So as you said, do what you want to do. The options are endless, but that was something that I struggled with coming from corporate America because I always had to ask what to do. I had to be given permission. So the transition to being like, you can do whatever you want to do was hard. It was hard for me
hmm,
because I was so
yeah,
used to being in the box, the corporate box. So
yep.
what is your next step for business?
Well, the next step, I guess, for us, um, is to just continue the growth cycle. Um, I have a connection with a videographer, so we're going to be working on some uh, short video segments, putting those out there as well. I got a truck wrapped. That's coming after spring cleanups, just
Nice.
to the financials wise and whatever, just to make sure that we can get that taken care of. Because I want to get both vehicles done. Even my wife's car is going to get done, and she doesn't do a lot of scooping, but she's
A
going to
lot
be
of
driving around in a
advertising.
wrapped car too, whether she wants to or
Heck,
not.
heck yeah.
so, so those are a couple of the next things coming up. Um, Otherwise, just keep plugging away. Just keep doing what we're doing, and obviously what we're doing is working. So it's, yes, we got to add to it and change it. And as I learn things and watch other people in the space grow and follow the web, follow the Facebook group and that kind of thing, and see things that are working for them and try to implement those things. That's kind of where we're going.
Yeah, success definitely leaves clues. I've
Yeah,
learned
for
that.
sure.
And one thing that I do after spring rush that I started doing the year before last is all of my subscriptions, like Canva, QuickBooks, my telephone answering service, whatever it is. After Spring Rush, because I have like a lot of money after Spring Rush, I will pay for those services for the entire year because you
Well,
usually get like a 20 to 30% discount when you do that.
yeah, okay, that's a
It,
fantastic idea.
yeah, that's what I've been doing. And so then that way, that's done, it's out of the way, and then it's after spring rush, and usually that's when we have the surplus of our money. Because if
Hmm.
you have a strong spring, whoo, that sets you
Yeah,
up real good for the
yeah.
year. Yeah, for sure. So, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice you'd give to yourself?
Start earlier.
Yeah.
um, I'll be 50 this year, and so I mean, I started this when I was 47, and um, start earlier. Start getting into the space, getting into the mindset, getting into the um, start start doing things when you're younger, so that when you get to be older, that it's uh, you don't have to work as hard to do it.
Yeah, and
Takes
it's a big learning curve, especially when you have a family, you have kids and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I would have been ready to do this at 25 years old.
Right.
I don't know if I'd have been ready to be a business owner at 25. probably at 30, I probably would have been a little more open to it. But just start earlier and just go in with the mindset that it's going to work, that you're going to make it happen, and just do it.
And I would add to that, if you have an idea, you're like, I would like to be a business owner, I just don't know what I want to do. Start putting yourself around business owners. Try to get into the around these people because they'll start motivating you. You'll start getting ideas from them, and then that's going to lead you into the right direction.
Yes, for sure. Listen, and again, podcasts and all that kind of stuff. You can listen to whatever podcasts you want to listen to, but listen to podcasts and listen to information that's going to feed your brain. That's going to be positive and uplifting to you. That's going to help grow your mentality. That's going to help grow your intelligence in what space you're trying to get into. Be around the people. Try to be around the people that can help you with that.
It's true. I wasn't around business owners really, and so I didn't know. So when I started my business, I had started to get around some business owners through Premier Designs, the jewelry I was selling. And then that's what like catapulted me and made me realize like, wait a minute, when I'm doing this small business stuff, I love it. But then when I'm going back to my hospital job, I'm a terrible, sorry, my audio's messed up. I'm a terrible employee. Like I would have fired me a long time ago because I just wasn't into it. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I was
Yeah.
bored out of my mind, but
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, I was glad to get out of the business I was in. I'd been doing it for so long. I was burned out. I was tired. They came around to do layoffs, and when they were doing layoffs, when they laid me off, I was like, yes, thank you. I'm so happy. And I think they probably were a little perplexed. I mean, I didn't jump up and down for joy, but I was like, it was kind of a forced thing. And so it, then I had to do something, and then to follow up with that in August of 20, things kind of started taking shape, and they started getting busy again. We kind of had an idea what direction the world was headed. They actually called me back, and they said, "Hey, we're ready to have a conversation. Do you want to come back and chat?" And I said, "Well, I'll come back and chat." And he says, "But I got things going. I really don't. I don't need you anymore." And that was it. That was end of the conversation. And so here we are. Here we keep going, and things are doing fine.
how amazing did that feel when you were able to say that?
Yeah, that was truly like one of the most, like, I can't even describe that day, because it was just like
Powerful.
powerful. Yeah, there you go. That's the yeah. It was truly amazing.
Oh my, I love it. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that. I love that for you. All right. So, are you pretty active on social media? If the listeners want to get in touch with you, how do they find you?
So it's pretty easy. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Poo Patrol WI. It's all lowercase, whatever. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty active on my Poo Patrol Facebook page and the Instagram group.
All right, I will go ahead and include all those links down in the show notes and description. This was so good. Thank you so much for hopping on with me. Do you have
Yeah.
any last words for me or for the audience?
Well, like we said before, if you have a dream and you have a vision, go for it. Just go get it, chase after it, make it happen. Um, whether that be scoop and poop, whether that be running any other sort of business, just chase after it. Get into the people that know the space, and figure it out. And don't be afraid to fail, because you get hit your head a couple of times, but you'll figure it out. You'll bumble your way through it until you become successful.
Woo! That is fire. That is a great, great way to wrap up this show. If you guys are not subscribed or whatever the YouTube thingies are, please go ahead and do so. We drop a new episode every Monday. And until next time, bye.
See ya.